Good morning. Welcome to Stock Market Today for Friday, July 19th, 2019. I am your host, Dan Russo, the Chief Market Strategist at Chaikin Analytics. Find me on Twitter. I'm at Dan_Russo_CMT. Stock Market Today brought to you today and every day by Chaikin Analytics. Head over to chaikinanalytics.com/today. Sign up for a free email. Follow along with this show. Get daily stock ideas for you to consider hitting your inbox every trading day before the market opens. So U.S. equities closed higher on Thursday, reversing early weakness after comments from Fed speakers regarding rates. Staples, financials, and technology outperformed, while comm services, discretionary, and REITs lagged. Treasuries were stronger with the curve steepening. Dollar was weaker on the major crosses. Gold rallied an additional 30 basis points, and WTI crude closed down 2.6%. And as we get to the desk this morning, futures are slightly higher. S&P futures are up 10 basis points. Asian markets were higher overnight. Japan up 2% and Hong Kong up over 1%. European markets are higher as well. Treasuries are roughly unchanged. Dollar is rebounding versus both the yen and euro. Gold continues to move higher, up 90 basis points here in the early going this morning. And WTI crude is up 1.1% to get us going on a Friday morning. Now, looking at the S&P 500, not a ton has changed. Dovish comments spark a reversal higher. Market opened weak. And then commentary out of some Fed speakers about possibly being more aggressive, or the market interpreted it as the Fed possibly being more aggressive on rate cuts, reversed early losses and sent the market higher. But from a structural standpoint, nothing's really changed. Support is in the 2,900 to 2,950 zone. Resistance is right around the 3,000 mark, which we were testing early this morning in the futures market. So what are we looking for from a momentum standpoint? We're looking for the RSI to hold bullish ranges during any pullback. What does that mean? That means a pullback into this support zone. We want to see the RSI hold above 40. Look, similar to what it did in the rally to start the year on pullbacks. Notice how the RSI held within bullish ranges. We'd be looking for similar dynamic at play on pullbacks here to give us confidence that that's all it is a pullback, and the market is likely to resume its uptrend from support. For now, though, we're holding above support. Chaikin money flow is bullish. RSI is in bullish ranges. We continue to stay the course. We continue to identify the strongest areas of the market and identify the bullish and very bullish stocks within those areas of the market, and look for opportunities on the long side when those stocks become oversold, especially if the oversold condition is met with bullish Chaikin money flow. There's our process. Your market in a minute now, looking at what I'm talking about in my note to clients today. Dovish Fed speaker comments spark a midday turnaround for equities. We hit on that already. The rally in gold forces a breakout in the miners. We'll take a look at GDX a little bit later in the show. Semiconductor leadership is a bullish signal for the market if it holds. You know the importance I place on semiconductors. We'll take a deeper dive in that later in the show. Qs hold support despite poor Netflix results, right? Qs opened lower. The Netflix print was horrendous. Stock was down 10, 11% in the early going, but the Qs held where it needed to. We'll take a look at that. Futures, as I said, do point to a higher open here today. Power bars for the major indices. The Dow was unchanged yesterday. 6 bulls to 4 bears from a power bar perspective. S&P 500 still greater than 2 to 1 bulls to bears. 134 bulls, 65 bears as that index tacked on 38 basis points yesterday. NASDAQ was a slight underperformer, not a slight, 20 basis point underperformer due to that weakness in Netflix. And we did see some weakening of the power bar ratio yesterday. 29 bullish or very bullish stocks, 7 bearish or very bearish stocks. Small caps, inline performer. 533 bulls, 314 bears. Bonds roughly unchanged. According to the Chaikin power bar, it's interesting that bonds were unchanged given that Fed commentary. It tells you kind of where the market is pricing in expectations. According to the Chaikin power bar, large cap stocks and small cap stocks are bullish. Taking a look at our stock of the day now. Huntington Ingalls. HII is the ticker symbol. Comes to us from the one of the market-leading groups, aerospace and defense. Huntington closed at 229.87, down 64 basis points yesterday, but the power gauge rating is very bullish due to very positive expert activity and strong price volume activity. When we take the 20 factors, 5 in each of these 4 categories, we come out with our very bullish rating. Very bullish stock, strong trend, strong industry group. Let's run through the process. Very bullish stocks, but we also want the market and model to be in agreement, and we have that here. Stock is outperforming relative to the SPY, and the intensity has been increasing of late. Money flow bullish, above a rising long-term trend line. Only issue that I can see is that the overbought, oversold indicator is neutral and closer to overbought. So more aggressive traders, you could take the opportunity here. This stock checks 5 out of the 6 boxes on our new checklist. If you're going to be a little bit more conservative, you want to wait for that oversold condition, you can do that as well. A lot of this, you have to know yourself as an investor. We put our process out there, but we realize that there are many different ways and many different types of investors. But this is certainly an interesting name for us. I would add it to a bullish watch list if you're on the more conservative side and wait for that oversold condition. If you're more aggressive and you want to take a look at it here, again, power gauge rating bullish, relative strength strong, industry strength strong, right? Check the boxes. Long-term trend strong, money flow persistence strong. Only issue is that overbought, oversold indicator. 5 out of 6. We take a weight of the evidence approach. Huntington Ingalls looks good. Sector tracker now, looking at the movement of the major sectors over the last 5 days. And we can see staples at the top of the list. They've had a good run here. Materials, remember, I've been kind of warming up to the materials sector, and we're seeing that start to outperform. Tech being near the top of the list is a good sign for the market in general. It is the largest weight. Utilities and discretionary round out the 5 sectors that are positive over the last 5 days. Industrials are in line. Financials and healthcare round out the middle of the road. REITs, comms, and energy are at the bottom of the list, and we've been unabashed bears on energy, and I don't really see a lot of reason to change course just yet. Continues to be a weak sector. The industry groups are weak. They're underperforming, and just not a lot to like within the energy complex at this time. On the other hand, semiconductors are looking good, and you know the importance, again, I placed there. We'll take a look. Semiconductor services over the past 6 months has outperformed the S&P 500 by 10%. Power bar ratio, which measures future potential, is very strong. 11 bullish or very bullish stocks, only 1 bearish or very bearish stock. It's currently ranked number 5 of 21 subsectors, and it's moved up 6 slots over the past week. Some of the names you might want to think about there: Diodes, DIOD has a very bullish rating. Cypress is being bought, so let's cross that one out. And Rambus, RMBS, has a bullish rating. Let's take a look. We're going to take a look at this a couple different ways today. First, we're going to take a look at it from the Chaikin perspective, right? We can see here, fund has a bullish ETF rating, strong trend. What interests us for the market is this right here, the outperformance relative to the SPY. When semis are outperforming the market tends to do well. Now, on an absolute basis for the fund, this bothers me. The money flow here bothers me. I'm not going to lie. I mean, we have to analyze what we see and what is, not what we hope to be. Fund is overbought. That's fine. But the money flow bothers me as we're up here near all-time highs. To the extent that semis continue to outperform the market, that's bullish for the market. So we're going to continue to watch. I'd love to see an improvement in this money flow, though. Taking a look at what's trending now. Yesterday's S&P 500 movers and shakers are gainers and losers. Philip Morris, a long-time bearish stock here, looks to be making the turn. Now has a neutral Chaikin power gauge rating. The stock was up 8.22% yesterday following their earnings announcement. KLA 10 Core hit a 52-week high yesterday, part of that semiconductor group. Now, the stock has a neutral rating, but it was up 6.31% on the day. UNP, their EPS was enough to send the stock higher. Now, remember, yesterday, we looked at all the rails on this side of the board, or a lot of rails on that side of the board, following the CSX earnings announcement. UNP catches a bit of a reprieve following their print, stock up nearly 6%. ADS, Alliance Data Systems, up 4.8% following their earnings announcement. And somebody commented yesterday that it's 2019, but they seemed confused because IBM was ripping and Netflix was tanking. Well, IBM's earnings sent the stock higher by 4.5%. Person was obviously making a joke to the extent of, what year is this? But that's what happened because Netflix sub numbers in the U.S. were atrocious, and that sent the stock lower by over 10% on the day. URI, their earnings sent the stock lower by nearly 8%. GPC, Genuine Parts, down 4.5% following their earnings announcements. MTB continues the mixed bag for the banks, down 4.5% on their earnings announcement. And remember, we talked about energy and not seeing anything to like there. Here's a great example. APA, bearish rated stock, down 3.8% to a 52 52-week low. 52-week low for APA. Energy continues to be a disaster. We continue to avoid the group. Let's look at the earnings update now. Yesterday's surprises. Intuitive Surgical beat by 44 cents. Cap One beat by 53 cents. Microsoft after the close. The Microsoft numbers astound me just because their growth on such a large base really is remarkable. They beat by 16 cents. Stock's trading up 3% in the pre-market. Mr. Softy continues to be what we would refer to as a classic Chaikin bull. We talked about Philip Morris trading higher yesterday following their earnings announcement. They beat by 13 cents. And there's M&T Bank. They missed by 36 cents. Now, Fridays during earnings season, we don't get a lot of action after the close usually, but before the open, American Express, AXP, and Regions Financial, RF, are bullish financial stocks that are going to report. BLK and STT are neutral names reporting, and we'll hear further from the rails as Kansas City Southern reports with a bearish rating, as does one of our poster children for a classic Chaikin bear, SLB, Schlumberger. Let's dive in. Gold rally powers the miners. What are we looking at here? Well, first, we're looking at gold, the commodity, right? And we can see nice steady uptrend higher since last October. And consolidation, and now a move higher into a consolidation again. And you can see we're breaking out. This strength is confirmed by momentum. Look at the RSI for gold. Has not become oversold in quite some time. I mean, I could have dragged this all the way back, right? So bullish momentum confirmation to the price strength that we're seeing in the commodity. Gold is trading above the 200-day moving average. And look at what that's done for the miners. Bottom of the screen here, GDX. You can see a nice move higher, goes into a consolidation, and now is breaking out. Now, what I will say is the move has gone kind of vertical here in the near term, and it's on pretty much everybody's radar screen at this time. Now, gold is up 90 basis points this morning, so we're likely to see some follow through here in the commodity, in the funds that hold gold, and in the ETFs that hold the gold mining stocks. For those of you who read my market survival guide that comes out on Tuesdays, you know that for the past 2 weeks, we have been highlighting bullish ideas within gold and around that theme, whether it's a GLD or an equity that's levered to gold. So we continue with a bullish view on gold here, but are fully cognizant of the fact that this move higher in the miners is starting to look parabolic. But wanted to call it to everybody's attention here today. Encouraging relative strength in the semis. Now, we looked at the semis one way. Let's look at them a different way. Here was SMH relative to the SPY. And after holding support, it is now breaking out. And that breakout is confirmed by momentum as we have a series of higher lows for the RSI, and the RSI appears to be shifting to bullish ranges. Remember, we talked about holding in bullish ranges on pullbacks. Here's the ratio pulling back, and the RSI holding at the 50 mark before moving higher. On an absolute basis, we do have a bit of a breakout from a consolidation pattern for the SMH. So again, we looked at it from a Chaikin perspective. That's, semis money flow is a little punk. But what's important to me from a market's perspective is the outperformance. It's this line right here. And this breakout that now targets the highs, to the extent that semis continue to outperform the market is likely to move higher. Period. Full stop. If you're bullish, you're rooting for semis to continue to outperform. And now we talked about the Qs, and here we are. They hold above support, right? Pull back to the 190 level with a weak opening yesterday following that Netflix earnings announcement. Held at that 190 level above the 200-day moving average. Again, look at the RSI holding within bullish ranges. Momentum confirmation to the price strength that we've seen here since the low in late May. Looking at Qs on a relative basis, also outperforming since those lows in May. We've been bullish growth. We've been bullish the Qs and the NASDAQ. That continues to remain the case. Look for 190 on the Qs to continue to hold before setting the stage for a potential move higher. Microsoft could be the catalyst for that here this morning. That's going to wrap it up. I hope everybody has a great Friday and a great weekend. But before you close out your week, head over to ChaikinAnalytics.com/today. Sign up for that email that I mentioned. A lot of the content for this show comes out of that email, hits your inbox before the show is published. Take a look at it. Check it out. Daily stock ideas for you to consider. I hope you all have a great weekend. I will be back here on Monday.